आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
On the 13th of April 1919, one of the most brutal episodes of Indian freedom struggle, the JallianwalaBagh massacre, took place. The incident marked a turning point in India's struggle for independence.
The Rowlatt Act was passed on 10th of March 1919, authorizing the government to imprison or confine without a trial any person associated with nationalistic activities. This led to nationwide unrest. This act was termed as Black Act by nationalist leaders. Mahatma Gandhi initiated Satyagraha to protest against the Rowlatt Act and published an article called Satyagrahi on 7th of April 1919, describing ways to oppose the Rowlatt Act.
The British government issued orders to prohibit Gandhiji from entering Punjab and to arrest him if he disobeyed the orders. DrSaifuddinKitchlew and Satyapal, the two prominent leaders who were a symbol of Hindu-Muslim unity, organized a peaceful protest against the Rowlatt Act in Amritsar. When the two leaders were arrested on April the 9th, 1919, the people marched to the Deputy Commissioner's residence the next day to demand their release. They were fired upon by the police and many people were injured. The Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, MichealO'dwyer, directed the officers to suppress all opposition.
13th of April 1919. On the day of Baisakhi, people had gathered at JallianwalaBagh to celebrate Baisakhi, in spite of the orders prohibiting any assembly. At the meeting, two resolutions were to be discussed. One, condemning the firing on April the 10th, and the other requesting the authorities to release their leaders.
And that is why the Mahatma begs us to take the course of non-violence.
When the news reached the police, the tyrant Brigadier-General Reginald Dyer headed to the Bagh with his troops. He entered the Bagh, deployed his troops, and ordered them to open fire without giving any warning.
Should we issue a warning, sir?
They've had their warning. No meetings.
People rushed to the exits, but Dyer directed his soldiers to fire at the exit. The indiscriminate firing continued for 10 to 15 minutes, and it ceased only after the ammunition had run out. Over 1,650 rounds were fired.
The total estimated figure of the dead as given by General Dyer was 291. However, other reports, including that of a committee headed by Madan Mohan Malviya, put the figure of dead at over 500.
As the news of the massacre spread across the nation, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore renounced his knighthood.
General Dyer's actions on the day of the massacre received a prompt acknowledgement from the Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, MichealO'dwyer, who at once wired to him,
"Your action is correct. Lieutenant Governor approves."
Both the British officers, Reginald Dyer and MichealO'dwyer, faced violent criticism. On 14th of October 1919, the Disorders Inquiry Committee, also known as the Hunter Commission, was formed to inquire about the massacre. The commission only censured Dyer for his actions and asked him to resign from his appointment as Brigade Commander.
But the fire of revenge was alive in Indian revolutionaries. The barbaric Brigadier-General Reginald Dyer died in 1927 due to a stroke. But the then Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, MichealO'Dwyer, had to face the wrath when 21 years after the JallianwalaBagh massacre, MichealO'Dwyer was shot by the revolutionary freedom fighter Udham Singh on the 13th of March 1940 in London.
Mr. Dyer!
After independence, a memorial was set up by the Government of India in 1951 at JallianwalaBagh to commemorate the spirit of Indian revolutionaries and the people who lost their lives in the brutal massacre. It stands as a symbol of struggle and sacrifice and continues to instill patriotism amongst the youth. In March 2019, the Yaad-e-Jallian Museum was inaugurated, showing the account of the massacre.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.